It's new kit day today, guys. And this one, I've seriously been waiting for, and I'm super excited. What is up, guys? My name is Mark Centimere. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RC vlog, guys. We have a new one today, and this one is by one of my favorite companies in the entire world, Tekno RC. Some of you guys who are racers might already know what this is. However, I am super stoked about it. Super stoked. I actually already drove one of these. I tested out one of the prototypes, but first off, look at this thing. Look at how thin the box is. Yes. Yes. Boom. The new Tekno Sct410 2.0. So if you're wondering why Tekno came out with another short course after they just released the Sct410 SL, it's because this one is based on an A scale platform where the SL is actually based on a 10 scale platform. Now what that means is the SL will probably perform better on like a true 10 scale track where it's not as large, it's kind of smoother, it's indoor, those type of tracks. However, this one is built for A scale tracks, which the cool thing about short course is you can run them both at A scale and 10 scale races. I personally like the A scale cars a little bit better. I feel like they're a little more forgiving. One of the reasons why I haven't run the Sct410 SL that much is because I don't have any true 10 scale tracks in my area. I have Indy RC World and it's a true A scale track. So this thing, oh man, I am so excited. What I see whenever I drive an A scale car or an A scale SCT versus the Sct410 SL is that these are a little more forgiving. So if you make a slight mistake, it's not going to make you pay for it like crazy. If you short things, like whenever I actually drove, again, I drove the prototype one. Whenever I shorted things, I didn't hit things right. I hit the pipe. It didn't make me pay for it. Like I hit it and it kind of just soaked it up and it kept going. I'm not the greatest driver in the world. I mean, I would say I'm above average. I'm not the greatest, but I like a little bit of room for mistakes. Also in this box is Tekno short course wheels. They finally came out with their own short course wheels. This is the perfect offset for Tekno short course trucks. Very, very nice black. We will be using these, but guys, today we're building. I'm probably not going to be driving this thing in the video today, but I will be building it. You guys will see a cool time lapse of me building it. I'll talk a little bit more about the truck and what makes me so excited about this thing. I'm going to try something a little bit different for this video. I'm going to talk while I build. So if you've never built a Tekno kit, first and foremost, Tekno RC kits, they go together so well. They're so nice. I rarely see, if I've seen any errors, they're like really, really small errors. Like I think I saw one measurement screw error, but nothing crazy. Very, very straightforward, very simple builds. As you can see, when I first started the build, I actually didn't have the book open. Pretty much all the diffs are the same. They're straightforward, simple, nothing confusing, super straightforward. So I don't need the manual to build the diffs, but as soon as I get past that part, I like to have it open just for reference to make sure I install everything correctly. On this part, I'm putting together the diff cases. Just make sure when you put together the diff cases, you clean the set screws off with maybe some rubbing alcohol before you put your Loctite on there. Sometimes there's some residue on there that will keep the Loctite from curing correctly. So that's just kind of an extra step that I take. Here I'm putting on the hubs and bearing carrier. So on the hubs, I actually like the new design hub. Before it used to be a set screw that kind of clamped the hub together onto the axle. Now there's like a set screw that actually screws into the axle, and you don't risk breaking the hub as much. I broke a few of the older hubs. I like that update they made with the hubs. So another thing that's cool about the new short course is it comes with universals now. If you don't know what universals are, it's the mechanism between your axle and drive shaft, but universals are typically used on high-end builds. This is probably one of my least favorite parts whenever I got to build the turnbuckles. It's easy to build them, but it's just so time consuming. But I had the udder butter out, or the grease there, to kind of grease up the turnbuckle. That way it will spin easier whenever I have to do some tuning. So some guys use chapstick. I just had udder butter available, so I just use it on there, and I know udder butter is plastic safe. Another thing to note is there aren't adjustable hinge pins on this thing. I know that's a little strange. I used to do a lot of tuning with adjustable hinge pins. However, I will admit on the short course, I didn't tune it as much. It was actually pretty good out of the box, but that is kind of interesting that we don't have that option. I can't say whether it's good or bad. I don't have enough time on the truck, but only time will tell. Another thing that's cool is on the front spindles, the pin that hold the spindle on, the set screw goes all the way through, which that's an update. I really like that, because I was always concerned that my set screws weren't pushing up against the pin hard enough. Now the set screw goes all the way through the pin. You might not know what I'm talking about, but if you build any of the newer Teknos, or whenever you build this, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Essentially, it makes the front end way more robust and less likely anything will come loose. Here's a major milestone of a build. It starts to look like a car, but you're actually about halfway done, because you still have to put the shocks together, mount the electronics, do all the setup. But here I'm putting the shocks together. Make sure you pay attention to the screw sizes. I did use the wrong screw to put the piston in. There's two different little screw sizes. Just make sure you really pay attention to the screw sizes. The screw sizes are actually to scale on the manual, so you can actually put the screw up to the screw on the manual, and that is the size of the screw. But the shocks are actually the 10 scale shocks, not A scale shocks like on the old Sct410.3. It looks like they use the smaller shocks and also smaller diffs. I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe it's for roar reasons. They also have something really cool. They put a license plate mount for the rear bumper. Those are all kind of like roar things. Again, I don't know the motivation behind it. I'm not concerned about it. The 10 scale shocks are solid. 10 scale diffs are solid. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I got myself taking notes on the build. That's pretty funny. If you're wondering what I watch whenever I wrench on cars, I was watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and The Big Bang Theory. And then I think I was watching some football at some point, but nonetheless, there you go. I was changing the channel. So I actually took a little break here. You guys didn't see the break, but I had to go take all the electronics out of my old short course. When I mounted the servo, I actually put a little bit of spacer to kind of space the servo up a little bit. The servo was sitting flush on the plastic side skirt, which I'm not a fan of that, because I feel like it's gonna slam down on the ground really hard, maybe short out my servo. So I like it to be lifted off the chassis. So I put a little bit of spacer there. They did make some updates to the servo mount where there's a bigger space for the wire to go through. I'm so glad they did that, because a lot of the newer servos have the servo connectors where you can remove them, and that piece is actually pretty big. On the current EB48 2.1, I have to Dremel that servo mount out in order to get the wire through. Not like that now. I absolutely love the new chassis layout. Everything fits in there so well. So much room for the ESC to sit. The wires are routed nice and clean. Now they have this really pretty rock guard, just in case you get rocks thrown up in your gears. It can't happen now. Now there's an actual protector, but the electronics mounted really nice. And there's actually channels for your wires. No wasted space on the chassis. They moved the receiver box behind the battery instead of behind the motor. Before, almost all your electronics were on the passenger side of your car, and it really limited the space for your ESC, and some big ESCs you couldn't get in there. Alright, so we're on the home stretch of the build now. Now I'm just mounting the body posts and bumpers. There's actually a crap ton of screws for the body posts, which was funny. But that's good, because whenever you flip over, there's a lot of impact that goes on the body post. It's a completely new design, nothing I've seen before, but it definitely looks beefier. I didn't see any guides in regards to how high you should mount your body post, so you're gonna kind of just have to play with that based on what body you run. So here she is in all her glory. So here's your obvious changes. There's your radio box now behind the battery. Here's this little rock guard, which is pretty cool. It has a fixed motor mount, so basically there's mounting points for certain teeth. I'm gonna run a 17 tooth pinion, but I think it goes up to 18 tooth. But it's not like adjustable where you can adjust it yourself, which is good and bad, right? It's good because you can't mess it up, but it's bad you can't fine tune it. I haven't mounted my servo yet because I'm going to put a setup on it. I haven't even centered it yet. So next up, we take it to the track, put a setup on it, and throw it on there, and we'll see how it is. Oh, check this out. Boom! MSM vlog. Big shout out to my buddy Dave who made me these license plates. But see, it has a license plate mount on the back. You could also probably put mud flaps on there, which is pretty freaking cool. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell, because on the next video we'll have it on the track, and I'll tell you guys how it feels on there. But super excited. Huge shout out to Tekno RC. They've supported my race program for years. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and you guys will see me next time.